afternoon, South Africa. Lovely to have you. Welcome to Afternoon Express live on SABC3. I'm Bonang Matiba.
And I'm Bonnie Mbuli. It is indeed an inspirational Tuesday in the Loft. Today we'll be talking all about skills management and education for young children. First up, we chat to winemaker Carmen Stevens, who's raised over R1 million to help feed hungry school children.
That's incredible. Also in the Loft, we're going to be chatting to a young man by the name of Bernard Viljoen, who started a program called I Got Shot in Joburg. And no, it's not a support group. So what he does, right, he takes street kids from all across the country, teaches them photographic skills so they can generate some income for themselves. They take those prints and sell them at galleries and markets all across the country. He's expanded into Cape Town, is also co-partnered with a mentorship program called Say Yes, co-founded by Michelle Potter. She's here as well. We're going to be chatting to her, so make sure you stick around.
Yeah, sounds amazing. We also chat to financial planner Jean Archary, who's created a book that helps young children with management, money management at a really young age and in a simple way.
I love this.
Yeah, and in the Loft today, it's an all-girls cast and we're all in blue.
All in blue, of course. Jenny, how are you doing?
Lovely to see you, ladies. I wish somebody had taught me financial management when I was a child. I definitely would have needed it. Now, of course, it is an inspirational Tuesday on Afternoon Express today, and something that is definitely going to inspire your taste buds is this fabulous concoction over here, done by the fantastic Lexi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, what are these? They look a bit like Swiss rolls.
These are called arlettes, and it's basically just puff pastry with sugar and cinnamon. Super simple, but just super delicious.
Yeah, great. I'm looking forward to it. Earlier I was saying it's just you and me, baby, in the kitchen, but it's actually you and me and baby in the kitchen. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Okay, so today, if you want to bake with us, all you need to do is visit our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and all of the details as to how you can make this tasty wonder will be there. Also, communicate with us on social media. All you need to do is visit our Facebook page, Afternoon Express, and of course we are live and tweeting all the time on Twitter at Afternoon Chat using the official hashtag Afternoon Express. But for now, let's head to the couch to meet our very first guest.
Thank you so much, Dini. Now, winemaking is an industry traditionally dominated by males, but that never hindered Carmen Stevens from pursuing her passion. She was the first person of color to study winemaking in South Africa in the 90s, and after winning numerous awards over the years, her own wine brand, Carmen Stevens Wines, which was launched in 2014, won her the Winemaker of the Year in 2015 from the UK online wine retailer Naked Wines. Imagine that. Recently, she made an online appeal via the website for donations towards feeding hungry children in the Western Cape. The response to her online appeal has been so overwhelming that she has managed to raise more than R1 million. Joining us in the Loft is our first guest, Carmen Stevens. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, just reading that, how does that make you feel?
That sounds more impressive on the ear, I must say.
I'm very impressed. I mean, you were the first person of color to study winemaking after the 1994 democratic elections. What are some of the challenges that you faced during that era?
The challenge for me was actually studying winemaking at the college where I was. I think for both me and my fellow students, I was the odd one out, and they weren't sure where to place me. And I always thought that will be the obstacle, that and going into the industry. And when I finished my studies and actually got a job in the industry, I realized the doors has opened. The stigma that I would not be accepted, the stigma that I cannot make wine, as I was told before, all disappeared, and everybody was very welcoming, very supportive. I think my biggest challenge was more to step out of that comfort zone of having a job and moving on to the next position as a winemaker at another facility to get recognised for doing that.
And of all the things in the world, Carmen, that you could have studied, why winemaking? What inspired you?
What inspired me was reading Mills and Boons. As a youngster, I had a big problem reading English and writing English. And my mom, at that point, I think, didn't know what to do anymore. And she said to me one day, "Yeah, try this." I read it. It was most interesting. And most of those settings was with wine in a vineyard or in a cellar. And I always thought, you know, this is completely different from what I'm used to. And I thought, I think I want to become a winemaker one day.
That's incredible. And it's an industry that's male dominated. You know, as a woman, not only being the first woman of color, but also getting into that industry. What are some of the challenges that, you know, female winemakers face every single day?
I think the challenges is the same as in any other industry. I think it's a question of you need to prove that you are there for a reason and that you have the passion and that you want to make wine like in any other job. And as soon as what I experienced for myself was the very first award I got, I worked hard, and everybody works hard, whether you're male or female. But as soon as you get that first recognition for a fantastic wine, people respect you for that. And that is what I found with the South African wine industry. You know, they just, suddenly you're just part of just a normal winemaker to everybody else, and you've proven yourself, and now you can go on.
And, you know, I've interviewed so many wonderful, successful people here at Afternoon Express, and usually when somebody reaches a certain level of success, they feel a need to pay it forward, which you did, and you raised 1.2 million rands via your online appeal, and you decided to donate that money to, you know, feeding schemes across the country. Tell me, you know, the process before you got to actually making sure that that appeal worked.
What happened was in 2012, I have two little girls, Caitlin and Victoria, and I always thought they were very privileged. Looking back to how I grew up, I come from a very poor community. My mother was a factory worker. So I knew what the dynamics was in that communities, and I thought, you know, I would like my kids to understand where I'm coming from and to understand that what they have today, not everybody has that. So I decided first with the pocket money, they had to put away some of the pocket money, and we would buy little gifts for people in old age homes. And then I thought, wait, let's do the soup kitchen, because I knew there was a need, especially in Belgium, where I did spend some of my teenage years. And I did it for probably 22 months, and then I decided it's getting, financially, it was becoming too much for me. And then last year, I went on my UK tour with Naked Wines in the UK, and sitting next to the CEO, I told him, no, he actually said to me, listen, we have this thing where we give money to a good cause. Do you know of any cause in South Africa? And I said, you know what, I actually have a soup kitchen that I would like to start up again.
That's incredible.
They gave me 6,000 rand, and we made soup, handed out at 3 schools. And as a thank you to them, I said, okay, let's take pictures and thank you letters. And the kids made beautiful posters. And I emailed that all through to the UK, just say, thank you so much for your contribution. Sure. They came back, can't be scaled this. And we raised 1.2 million rand in 10 hours.
That is overwhelming. But, you know, in an industry like winemaking, where the farmers are so poor, how important is it for people like you to generate donations and give them back to the communities?
I think it's so important. Historically, there is a big gap. There's a minimum wage in South Africa. We all know that. And you know what? People that have a disadvantage, they cannot provide the same education, maybe same, well, definitely not the lifestyle. So we, as the people in a better position, need to give back and to help those children. Maybe you cannot help the parents, but you can help that child. You can feed that child, because suddenly that child can concentrate better. The school attendance is better because there is food at the school. You know, they want to come to school. And that is what most people can do. They can donate to any feeding scheme.
Absolutely. And it has such a positive ripple effect throughout the communities and throughout the children. Well, you are so inspiring, Carmen. We're going to chat to you a little bit more later on in the show. But after the break, we're making easy tea time biscuits called Arlettes. And we're joined by the founder of Iowa Shot in Joburg, a project that gives street kids the opportunity to generate an income through photography. We're giving you all the inspiration you need this afternoon on Afternoon Express. Don't move. More after this.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, it's always when the weather starts getting a little bit cooler that food in my kitchen starts getting a hell of a lot tastier. So today we're going to be working with two of my favorite flavors, cinnamon in particular, and I really enjoy when you can taste the texture of all of this delicious sticky brown sugar. Okay, how do we get started with our Arlettes?
Today we've got a very, very basic recipe, which is great because it means that it's quick and easy. So we're going to start with two basic things. I've got a sheet of puff pastry here that I took out of the fridge about half an hour ago.
You buy this, though, as
you
it
buy
is.
this rolled up. You can make it yourself if you have got all day to spare, which we don't.
Yeah, for today, let's not.
I've taken it out of the fridge because it comes frozen.
Okay.
And you can see this is the kind of texture of it. So it's pliable, but it's not cracking when I roll it out. Very simply, we're going to mix together our cinnamon and our muscovado sugar. You can just as easily add in anything else that you like. So
anything sweet.
Some crushed up cocoa nibs or
raisins.
So I'm going to mix these two together.
Okay.
What is quite nice as well is if you take some ground up coffee beans. So I would take like a black pepper grinder and put cocoa nibs and coffee beans and this brown sugar and then grate it all together, and it gives it that kind of wintry
I actually have
appeal.
a little thing. You get it in the shops. We're in the same section as all the spices. You actually get one of those grinders, and I've got one with cinnamon, sugar, and a little bit of chocolate in it. Sometimes I put it on popcorn.
It just gives like an extra.
It's actually delicious.
So I've rolled the pastry out, and you're just going to take the sugar and cinnamon and push it into the one side. I'm actually just going to go ahead and use my hands.
Yeah, you use your hands, and I can do this for you.
Perfect.
Or am I doing too much?
No, go wild.
I mean, I genuinely
Nobody's ever complained that they had too much tasty stuff in there.
Only except for every girl ever after a great holiday.
So I'm going to tell you to just hang 5 on that, because we're going to flip this over and we're going to do the other side.
Okay.
And all of this is probably going to fall over.
Yeah, that's going to be messy.
That's fine.
But fun.
Okay. So we flip this over. We're going to do the other side.
Okay. There you go. You pat with hands.
If you wanted and you didn't want to go the very sweet route, you could take some tomato paste, put in a little bit of sugar to cut the acidity, and then you could put in some oregano and some Parmesan cheese, and you could make like a pizza biscuit.
Okay, that's actually more my flavour.
Not ideal for dipping into hot chocolate. I wouldn't quite go that far, but...
No.
Okay, so we've got both sides done. The next thing, another simple step, is just to roll it up. Now, you don't want to roll it up too loosely, because then it's all going to fall apart, but you equally don't want to roll it up too tightly, because you want it's puff pastry. So when it goes in the oven, it's going to expand, and you're going to get all of those lovely buttery layers. So you can see I'm just rolling it up naturally.
Yeah, easily.
And of course, none of my sugar's stuck onto the outside. Murphy's Law.
Okay, no, that's fine. We'll get it to stick.
Yes. You could always just run a little bit of water along this edge just to seal the pastry.
Yeah.
And then it's important to keep your pastry cold. So this is now defrosted. We've gotten all of our ingredients together. And now we're going to put it back in the fridge in this roll so that it chills, because we want the butter in between the layers of the puff pastry to get nice and cold again. So when it goes into the oven, by the time the butter's melted, the pastry's crisped. So you get all of those flaky layers. Otherwise, the butter just kind of goes meh, and then all the layers stick together, and you get this like...
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Amazing.
No.
Okay, but now if, like what happens here, if the sugar hasn't stuck, can you do a little film of water just to get that to stick
You could do like an egg wash and stick kind of anything on it.
All right,
so,
perfect.
Yeah,
Yummy.
that's pretty simple.
I can't wait to see how this turns out. And if you are curious about all of these tasty treats that we're making on Afternoon Express, all you need to do is visit our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and there you'll find our shopping list and, of course, all of these amazing recipes. Right now, though, Bonnie's on the couch with our next guest.
I was shot in Joburg. This is not the kind of statement you would associate with a community upliftment project that gives young street kids the opportunity to generate an income through the medium of photography. And that's one of the reasons why architect and photographer Bernard Viljoen chose the name for his organization. Over the past 7 years, he's been taking kids from shelters in Johannesburg and giving them a newfound hope through the lens of a disposable camera. We're joined by Bernard Viljoen now. Welcome to the Loft, Bernard.
Thank you.
I was shot in Joburg. That's quite a controversial name.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
For the very simple reason to get on shows like these. It was a branding exercise.
Well, it worked. I see what you did right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We Well, I mean, initially when we started, I knew there were quite a few of these projects out there, and it becomes like anything else. You have to kind of stand your ground.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to brand it relevant to the area we're working in, and relevant to South Africa also.
Yes.
And make it slightly controversial and see what happens.
Well, this all began back in 2009 as just a community upliftment project, and then it grew into something else.
Yeah.
How did the idea come about to incorporate photography?
I come from an architectural background and a self-taught photographer, and I did both of those together. So when you kind of want to reach out, I think you have to work within the realm that you're familiar with.
Yes, yes.
So I reached out to these guys. I thought I was going to do a 3-month project, been there, done that, tick the box.
Yes.
And then it just kind of went on. After 3 months of using the disposable cameras, the images were phenomenal. I said to the guys, okay, we're going to do another 3 months. Let's get a proper body of work. So we can do an exhibition that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And then on the night they said to me, the first exhibition was called Joburg on Monday afternoons, because we went out every Monday afternoon. And I said, and the guy said to me, so what's happening next week Monday? And I'm like, I thought we'd done now. And they kind of wanted to carry on with it, and I had to figure a way to make it sustainable.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's also part of the name and branding it in such a way.
It was such a novel idea. I remember it got a lot of write-ups. There was a lot of buzz around
we were very
it.
fortunate.
And I saw some photographs. But how did you prepare the kids to actually go out and take the photographs? I mean, was it daunting for them? Or did you give them just a few basic tips on how to take pictures?
Yeah. I remember when I arrived, I said to the guys, explain your immediate environment to me. What is your feeling? And we worked within Hillbrow, which everyone knows is quite notorious and dangerous.
Yes, and quite picturesque.
And picturesque.
Yeah.
If you look at it through in a different manner. So when I asked them, the first thing was, it's dirty, and it's this, and it's that. And I said, guys, okay, your immediate environment is extremely important, because that shapes you, and that is how you perceive yourself ultimately. So I said, we're going to open the gates at the shelter. All I want you to do is go out, find beauty where you thought there were none.
Wow.
That was the brief. So that was, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. And then, it was literally basics, color, contrast, composition.
Yes.
Showing them the very basic, because, I mean, a disposable camera doesn't really allow you much settings. You always say your legs are this is your zoom, and for the rest, you up and down, and you just find interesting subject matter.
Yeah, well, they did very well with what they had. And why the choice to use disposable cameras?
That was initially, it was a matter of funding. We got a batch of expired disposable cameras.
Oh, really? Well, what expires about a disposable camera?
I don't know. I suppose the same as a tin of beads. the film and the emulsion probably on the film runs out. But I mean, they came out perfect.
Yeah, they did.
And it fit in quite nicely with our theme. Part of it, as the project progressed, I always say to the guys, use what you have and make it work.
Yeah.
And I always reference back to that box of expired disposable cameras. That's what we had, and we made it work.
How did it affect the children's psyche to start to see beauty in their environment? I mean, did you start to see, like,
I think that's
great change in their personalities and their character, things I was talking about?
Yeah, one of my favorite images is as one day we also walked out of the shelter, and one of the guys saw his shadow on the road. And he clicked that, and in my mind that was such a beautiful gesture, because for him, all of a sudden, within his context, his shadow on that road became beautiful. And that was becoming part of your environment. And also, that's what we're trying. We're very fortunate to be based at Arts on Main, which is an artist hub within Johannesburg. So the guys are very much part of that community. And there's a huge market on a Sunday. So you try to integrate them into society.
Yes.
And I mean, once it's good for them when a tourist or someone exploring Johannesburg actually asks them about their environment, and they're actually really interested in that. That gives a different spin. It's almost becoming a tourist within your own city again.
Right. The organisation sells the prints, but you've also added other products which you sell. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, we've got a whole range of products, from key rings, fridge magnets. We've got a recycling range we're doing now, which we're going to call I Was Trashed in Joburg. And we've got notebooks that's
Excuse the pun.
notebooks. We've got T-shirts, a whole range of T-shirts.
Wow.
Those guys are little
Some
joesters.
beautiful stuff I'm seeing there.
Photo blocks. So the idea is we outsource most of it initially. That's recycled magazine frames. So the guys roll the frames.
Yeah.
The idea is to outsource it initially. Once the project becomes feasible and we see that it's actually working, we bring it in-house. So production is also done within the Johannesburg studio. The guys are, I mean, that's part of of our program.
And have any of your students gone on to take photography professionally and actually become professional photographers?
They should. We've got a guy who runs our photography component. They're still assisting him mostly.
Wow.
To do that, we've got guys who's gone to study law, who's in final year at this point. We've got the guy Tony, who's in his last year of art school. So. Yeah, and I want the better ones to stay within the company because, I mean, they just add value.
Yeah, and they become mentors.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yes.
absolutely incredible. You're not going away. We're going to talk more about your other project, Say Yes. So after the break, Bernard joins us again along with Michelle Potter, who co-founded the Say Yes mentorship program in Cape Town that has partnered with Bernard to make a success of his new venture, I Was Shot in Cape Town. Also on social media today, we're asking you the question, when it comes to kids begging on the street, do you give them money? If so, why not? And if not, why not? Share your opinion with us. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express or comment on our Facebook page. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Welcome back. You're still watching Afternoon Express. We're live right here on SABC3. Now, Say Yes is a mentorship program founded in 2008 that provides young people leaving children's homes with guidance that will enable them to develop their skills, further their education, and source suitable housing in order for them to participate in the society as independent and responsible adults. Now, before the break, we spoke to Bernard Viljoen, who teaches the youth photography skills with his company, I Was Shot in Joburg. Say Yes have joined forces with Bernard to kickstart his new initiative, I Was Shot in Cape Town. We're back with him, and we'll also have the co-founder of Say Yes, Michelle Potter, with us. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Welcome to the Loft,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
So please tell us about Say Yes. What do you do and how was it formed?
It was formed in 2008 after I came in 2005 for the first time from London. I came to coach soccer to children who were staying in a children's home during my summer break. And I learned quickly that these young people had to leave the children's homes at the age of 18 when the government funding stops, and that there was no provision for them in this country. So I was only here for a few weeks, went back to England. I was looking for a dissertation subject because I was studying at the time. I was planning on becoming a primary school teacher in London. And I decided to write a comparison between the UK and South Africa. My focus was on the educational attainment of children in care in children's homes, but what was highlighted from my dissertation was the lack of support that was here in South Africa for children who have to leave the homes when they're 18 versus what was available in the UK, which was every young person had a team working with them, helping them with housing, with finding a job.
Socially, economically.
Yes, yes. And in this country, there was nothing. These guys were leaving at 18. Even the staff at the children's homes didn't know what was happening to them.
Wow. But you've had quite an interesting journey. I mean, you went from being in the music industry and then to being a soccer coach and then into education. How have you used and you've incorporated all those experiences?
Yeah, I probably needed a mentor, actually, when I think about it. I left school at 16 in England. I didn't have any qualifications. I was a bit of a wild one. It was the early 80s. Jobs were easy to come by. I worked in hotels for a while, and then a friend of mine was working at a record company, offered me a job there. I went, had a fabulous time, worked in a number of record companies with some artists, had a really fabulous time through my 20s, and then thought, okay, what next? And I'd started playing ladies football, which I loved, so I thought, I'll do a coaching course, and I did, and then I did some coaching for a while. And then I was in my mid-30s, and I thought, I think it's time to think ahead a little bit, and so decided to go to university. And my plan was to become a primary school teacher in London, but during my summer break, I came here, and I volunteered at this children's home, coaching soccer to these boys, and I saw what their future looked like, and decided instead to change direction and to come to South Africa and explore how to support them. And my friend is Gillian Anderson, who's an actress, who made the setting up of this charity much easier than it might have been because she supports us financially through her fundraising. She and I founded the organisation in 2008, and I spent a year here doing a lot of reading about what other countries were doing for this target group. Volunteering in a number of children's homes, talking to young people who were living on the streets, who'd lived in care, talking to social workers, talking to youth who were living in the homes, preparing to leave, about their hopes and their dreams and their fears. And when I came across mentoring, one-to-one mentoring, I thought, well, we all need somebody. All of us need somebody. And these young people have not had parents who should have been there for them, guiding them, teaching them, nurturing them, loving them. They haven't. They've been abused and neglected, which is why they're in the children's home. The children's homes do a fabulous job at caring for them until the age of 18. They don't have the resources to provide any extended service like this transition program. So in 2010, we launched our mentoring program, and we source volunteer mentors, and there are fabulous mentors that we that sign up for our program, who go through our screening process, so they know this program is right for them, and we know it's right. They are right for the program. They screened and they're trained and they're matched, carefully matched with a mentor, with a mentee, with a young person who has signed up voluntarily. They can't be forced into this. They also go through a training process, so they know what's expected of them and what they can expect from the program. It's quite a commitment. It's a year-long commitment. And they have to meet once a week for 1 hour. We ask them to attend our monthly workshops, and where we bring in specialists and we bring in resource partners who offer fabulous opportunities for work and training. And the program is 1 year long, and then we have a graduation at the end of the year, and then we invite the young people to sign up again. But if they sign up again the next year, they must have a different mentor, so that they increase their networks. And so by the time they leave the children's home at 18, they've got a network of support, and they can continue to be in our program until the age of 25. And then they join our alumni group, and then they become a mentor.
And then the network just grows and grows and grows. So Bernard, before we get into our shot in Cape Town, how did you meet Michelle?
Through one of their mentees I knew. And he told me about the program, and he introduced me to his mentor, and it was just light bulb. Everything we kind of struggled with in Johannesburg could have been resolved had each of my students had a mentor. And I met up with her, and I said and I mean, it was just a nice synergy. And we had our first shoot last weekend, so we're rolling in Cape Town, and the collaboration is just working perfectly.
And what areas in Cape Town do you is the program? Do you
the greater Cape Town area. We meet at Marsh Memorial, and then we eat, like the shoot we did on Sunday. Back to the theme of use what you have and make it work. I said to the guys, I give you a disposable camera, Cape Town is giving you table mount, and that's what you have, make it work. And we took them to 4 spots where table mount, and it can be beautifully photographed, and we're going to look at the photographs they did, and we're going to reduce the number until we get to a group of 10 students who's going to be part of a 2-year program, where they also then meet once a month for kind of very intense masterclasses.
Do you envision yourselves just spreading this nationally, doing an hour shot in Durban, hour shot in...
We're very much talking about that, But Accra is a possibility.
Oh, wonderful. And above all of that, is there an exhibition where the public can come see the photos that the youth have taken?
So how this program works now, we're meeting once a month to do the shoots. That becomes an exhibition, which will be on the first Thursday in September at the Watershed in Cape Town. And then we'll have a full-time shop at the Watershed also, where people can then buy all the products and
And run by the youth, right?
I mean,
By
watching
them,
you,
for them.
your skin your face just lights up when you talk about this. It's so exciting. Well, congratulations to both of you. What an incredible relationship and marriage this is. Really
such
fantastic.
Great projects,
But after the break, we're joined by author and certified financial planner, Jean Archary, who has created a book series to teach kids the basics of money management.
Very important. I don't know if I'm doing such a great job teaching my kids how to manage money.
I know Jeannie isn't.
Remember, on social media today, we're asking the question, when it comes to kids begging on the street, do you give them money or don't you? And if not, why not? And if so, why not? Share your opinion with us. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express, or comment on our Facebook page. We'll be right back. Great to have you back. Welcome back to Afternoon Express if you've just tuned in. Today we're chatting all about skill development and education for the youth. Now, Jean Archary is a certified financial planning professional, a certified workplace coach, and a proud mom to her 7-year-old daughter. Jean is also the creator of Mrs. Spiggles and Her Money Tales, a children's book that shares important money messages to children. Welcome to the Loft, Jean.
Thank you for having me.
This is such an exciting book. Like, I'm buying this book today because I don't know how to speak to my children about money.
I know, and I think that's something that a lot of parents struggle with. In fact, I struggled with having these kind of conversations with my very own daughter.
Yeah.
And, you know, I work in financial planning services. I've educated numerous adults. I've had no problems having financial discussions and doing financial education talks to adults. But in communicating this with my own daughter, I actually struggled. I had to stop myself and think about how exactly am I going to be explaining these concepts to her?
Exactly. So I'm going to ask you very practical questions about this, being a mom. Is it good to give our children tuck money? And what do we say to them when we give them tuck money? Spend it all, or what do we say to them?
You know, I struggle with that as well because once my daughter said to me, this is not enough. And, you know, there's peer pressure on these kids. They go to schools where they see other kids walking in with lots of tuck money on a daily basis. But I think what's good about some of the schools is that they control the amount of tuck money that does get
There's a
brought
limit,
into
they say
schools.
to, yeah.
My daughter's school, for example, she's only allowed to have tuck once a week.
Yeah.
So it's up to the parents as well to play a role in terms of how they actually controlling and giving the amount of money to these kids. And to make sure that they also know the value of these things.
Value of it, yes. So this book is aimed at children between the ages of 5 and 9.
Yes.
At that age, what kind of basic money skill management lessons can we teach them?
I think saving is one. As South Africans, we don't have a savings culture. So as South Africans, we never grew up with having a savings culture, and I think that plays a huge role in how we turn out as adults. You know, I think also we need to, as adults, reinforce the money messages that our kids are learning from us. So reading a story like this is not the only thing that needs to be done. We need to reinforce that in terms of how we are interacting and dealing with money on a daily basis. So often when I take my daughter shopping, we would look at the price of things, and she would actually pick out and notice things and say to me, but Mommy, this is expensive. Or, you know, we can get this probably cheaper somewhere else. So the conversations I've had with her after doing this book has been really profound.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So who is Mrs. Spiggles?
Okay. So Mrs. Spiggles is actually a flying piggy bank. Initially, when I started coming up with the concept of doing the story, I realized I was only going to just do one. I intended to just do one book. And cramming all these financial concepts and messages into one book was just impossible.
It's impossible, right?
No. As adults, we don't fully grasp and understand all the financial concepts out there. So how was I expecting a 6-year-old to actually understand all the concepts? So I broke it down and decided I needed to do a series.
Yay! I'm so glad you're doing
So there's more to follow.
Yeah,
Taylor's birthday surprise is the first in the series, and Mrs. Spiggles is basically the main character that features in all the stories. So she's a flying piggy bank that goes to visit the children in this town, and in each story she teaches them about different money concepts and money messages. So my intention also with the series is that I can actually now be inclusive, because I can make stories around little boys and all cultures, and, you know, so it would be age appropriate but also gender specific at the same time.
And do you see yourself writing books for people in older age groups?
I think there's quite a few
women
books
in their
out
30s
there.
like myself.
There are actually quite a few books out there that focus on adults.
Yes, but they're not this fun and colourful. Right?
No, they're not. Maybe at a later stage. It's possibly something I could look at.
Yeah, it's incredible. What kind of language should we be using when speaking about money to our children? And what kind of language is destructive, and what kind is encouraging and positive?
I think to have an open discussion with your kids is extremely important. And I think one of the things parents struggle with is the boundaries that they have to lay out with their children. So how much information do you actually divulge to your child that is not divulging any personal information regarding finances? Because financial concepts in your financial business is actually very private. But I think it's also important that how you are communicating with your kids is in a positive manner. You don't want them to grow up thinking that I hate my job. My job sucks.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, your job is actually giving you or earning you the money that you need to survive.
Wow.
So the relationship that you have with money is extremely important, and your attitude and how you deal with it can actually pass on to your children.
Yeah, I mean, just from experience, one thing I realized that it's not helpful to say to your children, don't waste that or don't lose that because I paid for it. It's about teaching them to value what they own and value what they have.
Often I've heard parents at school having conversations with their children.
Yeah.
So when you actually see them, and you actually see the anger that comes out of them because of probably issues that they're dealing with money. Once I went to school and I saw a mom having a conversation with a daughter because the daughter refused to go to extramural lessons, which she had already paid for.
Wow.
And I was horrified at the conversation that was actually going on, because I think there's more to it than just, it's not only about money. There's something deeper that's actually going on with the child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm getting this book today, and so should you. We're giving away a copy of Taylor's Birthday Surprise by Jean Archary, which is part of the Mrs. Spiggles and Her Money Tales series. Simply SMS the keyword books, your name and city to 33728. SMSs cost R1.50. T's and C's apply and can be found on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. Let's head back to the kitchen with Jeannie.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. Now, today is one of those days that the loft is literally going to be smelling like wintry wonderfulness because of these amazing flavors. So this has just come out of the fridge. Our little roll is looking a lot neater now.
We've done our time machine again. So technically this has been in the fridge for about 30 to 60 minutes. So you can see it's nice and firm. Easy as pie. I'm actually going to leave it on here. We're going to cut it into rounds. Then we're going to put those rounds onto this baking paper, and I'm going to go against everything you think about puff pastry, and I'm going to roll it flat with this rolling pin.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go from there.
So why is that against everything that you think about
Because
puff
with puff pastry, it's always, you know, work light.
You've got to let it
and
grow.
don't mush it, and you know, you want to get these big fat layers, but for us, we want the layers to stay kind of thin and crispy instead of airy and
If you
puffy.
didn't roll it out, would it come out like a croissant with lots of little broken layers?
Yes, it would.
Okay. Is that also an option, or just no?
No.
Okay.
So I'm going to cut a few of these, otherwise we're going to be here all day.
Yeah, or I can cut and you can roll.
Perfect.
Look at us, we're a team.
So over here, I'm going to take a little bit of our leftover cinnamon sugar.
Okay.
I'm going to sprinkle it on this half of the
mine's a
baking
bit
paper.
thick.
No, it doesn't matter. You can kind of, I like to go like a pinky finger width.
Okay.
So it's an easier way to remember. Then we're going to put a bit of cinnamon sugar over the top. You can never have too much sugar. Why not? Pile it on. Then I'm going to fold the baking paper over the top just so that it doesn't stick. And give it a good roll. I mean, don't be scared. So that's kind of what we're going for. It looks incredibly unsexy right now, but I promise you the taste is going to be a lot better.
But it's us that is making it, so it's fine.
I'm putting it straight onto the baking tray. This pastry is super buttery, so there's no need to put baking paper down or add more butter. You're going to be fine.
Okay, let's make loads because there's so many people in the loft today. I feel like we need to feed all of them.
Exactly.
There you go.
There we go.
I mean, can you mess it up by, I mean,
not really.
What's the worst thing that can happen
what's
when you're
actually
rolling?
quite nice about this recipe, I think, is it's, if you've got kids, it's a lovely recipe that you can do with your kids. You know, you can give them free reign, they can sprinkle, they can put hundreds and thousands on, you can really go to town.
Could you put jam through this?
You could. I just wouldn't put too much jam.
What would happen to it if you had to bake it?
Well, the jam just caramelizes quite a lot, and jam is also quite sweet. I think if you did it, you know, like those biscuits that Granny used to make, those apricot biscuits with the grated, I think apricot jam could be quite nice. And you don't need to spread them out too much in the pan because they're going to go this way, not that way.
Okay, that's
so,
good.
yeah, you can really
get into it. Okay, then what's going to happen from here? This is going to go into the oven.
This is going to go into the oven, and every oven is different. So put it in the oven. Once the pastry is kind of golden and crisp, then it's ready. So if you take it out of the oven and you lift a biscuit off and it kind of does that, it's not ready.
Okay.
Put it back in.
It's going to be quite crisp.
For me, you know, all recipes say that you should take them out of the oven and leave them to cool before you enjoy them. I'm completely against that. For me, stuff usually by the time it's cold, it's finished.
Okay, so we can have this warm as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Remember, this recipe and, of course, all of the ingredients are on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and it's already starting to smell so delicious in here. And the minute we put those in there, it's going to be even better. Now, remember that our resident chef, Clem Pedro, is teaming up with Espresso Morning Show's Zola Nene for a baking boot camp, and you can take part. Here's how it works.
I'm Zola and he's Clem.
She's Zola and I'm Clem.
I'm really sweet
And I'm her salty friend.
We're both hard-working chefs.
Making dishes that impress.
I'm Zola and
I'm Clem, 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 Clem.
stop being greedy. At Salati Boot Camp we'll meet.
Where we'll make delicious treats.
So tasty you'll want to tweet.
Heck, it's salty sweet.
Like us.
The fun isn't over yet.
You're in luck if you get your ticket.
That's a copy of Zola's book.
That's me.
It's a lot to help you cook.
At Salati Boot Camp.
Don't forget to book.
With Zola and
With Clem, 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 Clem.
you're doing it again, Clem. Express yourself.
Welcome back. You're still watching Afternoon Express live right here on SABC3.
Yeah, lovely to have you back with us. So, guys, we've had an absolute great conversation with you today, but there's another conversation happening on Twitter where we asked our viewers, do they give money to children begging on the street? And if they do, why? And if they don't, why? We'd love to hear from you.
Carmen, you want to go first?
I think I'm the worst. I give money and I give food.
Okay.
It depends where I am. I think if a child asks you for food, there's a reason. So I would either go and say, okay, come with me, I'll buy you something. Or if I'm in a position where I can't go, I'll say, I hope you're going to use this money wisely.
All right.
So whether that's good or bad, but for me, that is sufficient for that point in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think you kind of have to trust your instinct sometimes also, or just refer to them at least to a home or a house, or give them a little bit of an option, or just listen to what they have to say. Sometimes they also just want a little bit of acknowledgement.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a right and a wrong with that always. You kind of just have to trust your gut.
It's a personal thing, I guess.
It is a hard one. There are lots of great organisations working with children on the streets. They should be referred to those organisations if they don't know who they are, and people should make themselves aware of who those organisations are. It's very difficult seeing a child on the street. No child should be on the street.
Absolutely.
But direct them to those organisations, because addiction is a big problem.
Yeah.
Big problem, and drugs are available.
Jean, you're the money person.
Yes.
You should have the perfect answer.
Yeah, I think, there's no perfect answer because there's always an emotional connection. As parents ourselves, we see these kids on the street, and there's a huge misconception that kids on the street are associated with drugs and alcohol and cigarettes. So giving kids money is seen as you are actually facilitating that habit. I would prefer to actually go out and buy them clothes or food, but yes, it is an emotional one.
Fantastic. Well, we do have a couple of comments on Twitter. Zanele Mdombela says, I'm a Christian, so I believe in being the helping hand. So yes, I do give them money, but only if I have. No matter what they do with the money, you never know if someday they will use it for change or to improve the improvement of their own lives. Very nice, Zanele. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, Debucho Lesaba says, I will not give them money because they'll use it to buy drugs. I'd rather give them food.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Peter Johnson says, no, I found out exactly what they are needing, food or clothing, and then I assist with them accordingly.
Yeah, and Caroline Mamecha says, I always try not to give money, but give them food because you never know what they'll use the money for.
Yeah, well, there you go. Like, Bernard was saying, it's no half and half. Jeannie, we don't have a lot of time, so come in here and feed us, darling.
That is my role today. I'm the feeder.
This looks divine.
These are amazing. You are absolutely going to love them. They're called
incredible.
alettes, and I've been baking all day, slaving. May as well have been barefoot and pregnant.
Well, there you go. But tomorrow, make sure you join us again for Afternoon Express and get here early during the first 15 minutes of the show. We're chatting to Mubango actress Bootless Samuels, and for dinner, we're making lamb chops with an Egyptian spice mix called dukkha. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I love dukkha.
Lovely.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow, sadly, but We'll be back the following.
Yeah, absolutely. Big thank you, of course, to Carmen, to Bernard. Michelle, thank you very much for being here. And, of course, Jean, it's been a lovely, inspirational Tuesday. Back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. right here on SABC3. From all of us, it's good evening and happy eating.
Mwah. Ciao. Now, who would like?
Coming up tomorrow on Afternoon Express, Muvango actress Bushle Samuels joins us to chat about her career and personal journey. We also take a look at how to deal with conflict, both at home and at the workplace.
Nada. Feel Good production.
Hi, YouTubers. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to us. Join the Afternoon Express family by subscribing to our channel right here. And we'll keep you up to date with all our recipes and, of course, our fabulous episodes. Also, feel free to leave a comment and share this video. We do love it when you express yourself.